Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the Beast Kingdom Egg Attack Avengers Infinity War Iron Spider, the deluxe version. And I'm so happy to finally have this figure because I've been wanting to buy it ever since it first came out, but to be honest with you, I wasn't really willing to pay the price that GameStop was charging for it. This figure originally retailed at GameStop for like $100, and for me that was just a little too much. But luckily, GameStop had this insane sale where most of their collectibles were like 75% off, so I swooped on this figure right away, and I'm so happy that I did. I already opened them up and started messing with them a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you straight off top, I absolutely love this thing. But let's go ahead and get into it so I can tell you exactly why I love this figure so much. So first off, the figure does come in a collector friendly packaging. You are able to take the figure out, put it back in the box, all that good stuff. He does look really cool in there, and you can see most of the accessories that are in there. And then right here we have a real cool look at the figure itself. It says Iron Spider, deluxe version, Avengers logo, Beast Kingdom, Infinity War, all that good stuff. On the side of the box we get another look at the figure itself, which looks really awesome. And as you can see here, his eyes are illuminated, and that is super dope because that actually, I mean, the figure could actually do that. His eyes light up. So I'm really excited about that. And then on the back of the box, we get a look at the figure itself and all kinds of different poses with a bunch of his different accessories. We got this badass shot right here with like half of his face. And then down here, it tells us all the things that the figure comes with and some of the stuff that he could do. Over here, we get another look at the figure, but with the unmasked Peter Parker head and then a bunch of other information. And that's about it for the box. The box does look cool. It is collector friendly. I love the way the figure looks in there. So even displaying it like this is kind of nice, you know. But anyways, who cares about the box? Let's go ahead and take the figure out and take a look. All right, so here he is out of the box, and look at this beautiful figure. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with the way this thing looks. I went ahead and plugged on his spider legs only because it makes him look even more badass. But just look at this thing. Look at the metallic paint job on it. Look how cool the spider legs look, and man, just look at it. It's such a beautiful figure. And you know, because I'm so excited about the light up feature, I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. Usually I'd wait, but let's go ahead and get into that. So the way the light up feature works is you just pull up his head. There's a little switch in there that's very easy to get to. And look at that. Oh my God. That is ridiculous. That is so freaking cool. I cannot believe how awesome that is. Look at that thing. Oh man. Like, I get that these Egg Attack figures aren't for everybody. They're very stylized. I've even heard people say that these are similar to Funko Pops, which I really hope that that's not how they're perceived, because they're so much more than that, to be honest with you. These are like super high quality action figures, and it's completely insane. And at first, I was kind of hesitant on Egg Attack figures that don't have the soft goods, because that was a big part of what I liked about these figures, is how well done the soft goods are. But me getting this figure throws that like hesitation out the window. Now I'm looking at all the Egg Attack figures. I want to go back and get like a bunch of them, whether or not they have the soft goods. So yeah, this Spider-Man, even though I got it for a really good price, it might end up costing me a lot of money, because it's gonna force me down that Egg Attack rabbit hole. But man, look at that. Oh dude, this is so badass. But let's go ahead and get in close and take a look at the details. So let's go ahead and take a close look at this figure, starting off with the head. I really love this head sculpt, and I really love that metallic paint job. It just makes everything look so good on this figure. I love the way that the eyes look. Everything about this head sculpt is awesome. And what I really like is the way that they kind of hid the battery compartment into the design of the mask. So you can't even really see it. I mean, it's right there with the web lines, you know? So that is awesome stuff. That worked out really well for this figure. But just check that paint job out. It looks so good, especially on the head. And then moving down into the body, look at all the detail on this thing. Look at all the textured sculpt work in here. And look how clean it looks too. Look at all the paint on it. There's gold where it's supposed to be, there's red where it's supposed to be, and then blue, and nothing overlaps. It all looks really, really good. Damn, that's crazy. And then that metallic red paint job carries on into the torso and stuff here, and into the arms. One thing I kind of dislike when it comes to Beast Kingdom figures is the way that you could see the pins right here in the shoulders. I mean, you can't really see any pins anywhere else. I'm not sure why they keep it like that. You know, it's not a huge deal, but it's something that always catches my eye. Because if you look right here, you can't see the pins or anything, or on the legs even. So, I don't know, that's kind of strange. But, anyways, moving on here. I love the way that the arms look. All the sculpting work is very well done. And look at that. Look at the details on there. That looks good. And there is a a little hole on the inside of the arm so you could put the web effect in. So that's cool. Then moving down into here, we have some more awesome looking details. The feet look great. Look how clean all the paint is, man. That's crazy. It's so well done. I'm just blown away by how nice this figure is. And then let's take a look at these awesome spider legs. Look at the detail on those too. You have gold with a little bit of black in there. Then you have like the stinger, I guess you could call it, at the end. But yeah, look at that. Really nice. And they plug right into the back. And this plate comes off, and there's another plate that you could put in there that doesn't have the holes for the legs. Let's see. And you just plug that right in, and then you don't have the peg holes for the legs. So that's cool. And the back of the figure looks nice too. Check it out. Look how clean it all is. No paint imperfections or anything.
And let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, because Spider-Man does come with a lot of really cool stuff. But let's start off with the hands. First off, we have a pair of fists. And then we have a set of open hands. And then, of course, we have a set of thwip hands. And then for this final set of hands, I'm not really sure how to describe them. I guess I could call them like pinching hands. And he actually comes with 3 different type of web effects. The first one here is just kind of like a blast looking effect with a little ball at the end. The second one is very similar to the previous one, except it's a little longer. And then the last one is kind of like a web blast, kind of like a web grabbing kind of thing. Like he would use this type to stick to something. But yeah, these are cool.
Alright, so I was removing the masked head so I could pop on the Peter Parker head, and I noticed that the head actually has this soft black material in there, kind of like foam or something. I think it's to prevent it from scratching up the neck, and that is awesome stuff right there. That is like so above and beyond, you know?
And then he also does come with an alternate unmasked Peter Parker head, and I think this is pretty good too. Obviously, it's very cartoonish and stylized, but I think it captures Peter Parker pretty well. And he does have articulated eyes, so you can move his eyes in different directions and have a lot of fun with that. So I like that a lot. And then he comes with interchangeable eyes, and I think that is awesome. It adds so much fun to this figure. The first set of eyes are the widest ones, and they're the ones that are on him inside of the box. And then from there, they just get like more and more narrow to the point where they look like they're squinting. So these are really cool, and it just adds a lot of fun to this whole figure. So I'm really happy about that.
And the way that you change out the eyes is basically done the same way as it was on the Spider-Gwen figure. They're just on there with little magnets, so you could see that you could pull them right off. But there's also an indentation here, so you don't have to worry about them falling off while you're moving the figure's head. On Gwen Stacy, that was pretty much my only problem with it, that I would try to turn the head and the eyes would fall off because you would slightly touch them and they would just fall down. But in this case, they fit right into the grooves, and they don't fall off, but they're still easy to remove.
And then he does come with one of the Beast Kingdom stands that we pretty much see on all the Egg Attack figures. And this one's cool. It says Avengers Infinity War, and then down at the front it says Iron Spider. So that thing is pretty nice. And then now for some size comparisons, we have Spider-Man alongside the Egg Attack Infinity War Captain America. And I think I'm going to review that one too, because I recently got him, and that's a fun little figure, so I want to talk about him. And then on the opposite side of that, we have the Egg Attack Spider-Gwen. And then next up, we have Spider-Man alongside the 2 figures that kind of got me started on Egg Attack, and that would be the Comic-Con exclusive Wolverine and Cyclops. And then next up, we have Spider-Man alongside the Marvel Select Iron Spider and the SH Figure Arts Thanos. And then here we have him alongside the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael. And then just because he also has a big head, we have him alongside the NECA Sam from Trick or Treat. And then, of course, last but not least, we have him alongside the Pizza Spider-Man and Bucky Cat.
So before we get into the articulation of the actual figure itself, I wanted to talk about the articulation on the spider leg, because these things are fully articulated and you could do a lot of really cool stuff with them. So first off, let me talk about these pegs. So the pegs on these spider legs are really thick, so you don't have to worry about them breaking when you're moving it around. So they plug right into the back, and then you have your swivel right there where the peg plugs in. And then on that same joint, there's a hinge. And then there's a hinge joint right there, which also swivels. Another one right here. Another one right here. And then another one right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints on these spider arms. And they all just work really good. They're very solid. I don't feel like they're going to break when I'm messing around with them. You can do all kinds of good stuff. Look at that. These are really, really cool. And yeah, man, they're awesome. The thing I love about them is that I'm not scared that they're going to break. That's the huge plus side here, because with other versions of Iron Spider-Man, I mean, they had weak pegs, things were breaking off, and they're not very fun to handle. But that's not the case with this here. You can mess around with these all day. I mean, within reason. You know, obviously it's a plastic action figure that you can break if you go too far or you're too careless, but for the most part you could comfortably mess around with this and you don't have to worry about it breaking. So I think that's awesome, and I just love that these are fully articulated and you could just do a lot of really cool stuff with them. Alright, so now taking a look at the articulation on the rest of the figure. So far I've noticed that Beast Kingdom has a pretty standard articulation setup that they use on a lot of their figures with very little variation, but I think for the most part it works for most of the characters. With Spider-Man, I do wish that some of the joints had a little bit more range, but I think it's fine. I'm pretty happy with it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, the head does move side to side. He has movement where the upper neck meets the head and where the lower neck meets the torso. So you get some pretty good range. I'm kind of scared to move this too much because I don't want to scratch the paint. I just love the way it looks so much. I'd be pissed off if I chipped the paint at all. But his head could go down to about right there. So that's cool. And let's see here how much we could get it to go up. So you got to mess with it, but you could get it to go up to about right there. And then you have some tilt between the neck joint and the head joint. You get a pretty nice tilt there. Seems like a little bit more going that way, huh? So yeah, the head movement's pretty good, but you just got to be careful with it because you don't want to chip that awesome looking paint. And then for the torso, he has a mid-torso cut and then a cut at the waist. So the waist is where you're going to get your twist side to side. Actually, they work together. I mean, you get some twist at the mid-torso too, so that's cool. That's pretty good. And then it's a really tight mid-torso joint, but using both of them, you could crunch forward to about right there. So again, not the greatest ever, but it's cool. You could still get him into some pretty nice poses. You're not going to get him crouching down or anything like that, but you know, it is what it is. And then he can go to the side to about right there. He could go this way to about right there. I kind of want to pop them open and try to loosen those joints a little bit, maybe with some oil or something. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. We got a little bit more, huh? Check that out. That's good. So the side to side is pretty nice on this. Ugh, there we go. It's pretty tight. But yeah, the torso situation, I do wish there was a little bit more going on there. I wish he could crunch a little bit more, but you know, I'm not mad at it or anything. And then for the arms, we have ball jointed shoulders, and then we have a joint that's very similar to like a Mafex joint, which is pretty cool. But in this case, it doesn't have that extra piece of plastic like a Mafex figure would. But still, this joint is really cool right here. It almost works like a butterfly joint. And the arm does go all the way around, comes out to the side. He could bring his arms up a really good amount, so you could get him into like those jumping poses, you know. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. He's got a double jointed elbow. Whoa, look at that. Got a nice bend on that double jointed elbow. Nice, look at that. That's awesome. And then at the hand, we have a little ball joint. So you can twist and you could rock it up and down like that, side to side. It's like a little double ball joint situation in there, so that's cool. And then for the legs, we actually have drop down hips. So you could drop his hips down, get his leg forward to about right there. They could come back to about right there. They could come out to the side. And then he has, actually he could pretty much do the splits. Check it out. Bam, there you go. A lot of Spider-Man figures out there can't do the splits. But the Egg Attack one can. There you go. And then we have the upper thigh swivel. We have a double jointed knee. Let's see here. Bam, there we go. It has a pretty good bend to it. So that's good. And then the foot joint is very similar to the wrist joint where it's like a double ball joint. So you get some swivel. He could move his foot forward to about right there. Bring it up to about right there. And then we have a toe hinge. Nice. So yeah, it's not the most articulated thing ever, but you know, it's like this weird stylized version of Spider-Man. You're not going to get him into all the poses that you're going to want your Spider-Man to get into, but you could definitely have a lot of fun with it, do some cool things, get him into like web swinging poses and all that kind of cool stuff. I just wish that I could get him to crouch a little bit. I think that would have been awesome. But as is, I'm pretty happy with the articulation on this guy.
All right, guys. So overall, I absolutely love this figure. I think this thing is awesome. And you know what? I say this almost every time I talk about Egg Attack figures. I understand that these things aren't for everybody and they could be perceived as goofy. And some people even go as far as to say that they're like Funko Pops. But let me tell you right now, I strongly disagree with that. These things are like on another level. And no matter what you like think about these figures, you can't deny the quality and how well they're executed and just how well they do their job. You know, these figures are so nice. Like this one in particular, the paint job is incredible. It's so clean and crisp. The sculpting work is like insane. There's so many details on this thing. The only, I guess you could say, drawback on this figure is that I wish that he had a little bit more articulation because it's a Spider-Man figure, you know. I wish they were able to put a little bit more in there, or I wish the joints that he did have had a little bit more range. But that's pretty much my only, I don't want to say complaint, but my only concern, I guess, or the only thing that I could see that people could without a doubt say is a flaw, you know. But other than that, everything about this figure is perfect, you know. But the sculpting work is just crazy. It like blows my mind every time I look at it. And the paint job is just like beautiful, you know. It makes it stand out. It looks really cool. And then on top of that, you have the light up eyes, and that is just crazy. Like that just adds so much more to how cool the figure looks. And then you have all these different interchangeable eye options, all these different hands, all kinds of crazy stuff. And yeah, man, I just really love this figure. And then one more thing I want to point out before I get out of here is the legs, the spider legs, you know. Those things are the best spider legs in this scale, maybe in any scale, because these things are so nice. You don't have to worry about them breaking. They're articulated. There's a bunch of sculpted details on them, and they look really good. And just having them on the figure with the lights on and everything, it just, the whole figure looks insane. I just love the way it looks. But yeah, these spider legs, I don't feel like they're going to break, and I can't say the same for other Iron Spider-Man figures out there, you know. Like, that's part of the reason why I didn't even buy the Mafex one, because I thought it looked really cool. I thought the paint job looked nice and everything, but I was scared that those spider legs were going to break, and that seemed to be the case with a lot of people. And then for Marvel Legends, they didn't even give us spider legs the first time around, so you had to buy 2 figures in order to get the spider legs. Well, 3 actually, because I think the one that did come with spider legs was like in a 2-pack with Iron Man. So you had an Iron Man figure that you may not have wanted. The only other one I think kind of does its job pretty well is the Marvel Select one. That's a really good figure too. But the spider legs, I think, actually mine broke on that one too. I had to return it and get a new one. Man, that's crazy. And then Figure Arts has theirs that has the big spider legs, but they just don't look very good, right? So yeah, I would say that these are the best like Iron Spider legs that I've seen on an Infinity War Spider-Man, and it just blows my mind how much I like this figure. But you know what? I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm definitely going to do some more Beast Kingdom reviews because they're just so much fun. They're different, and I don't feel like they get a lot of coverage out there. So I want to talk about them and hopefully, you know, inspire people to check them out because you won't regret it. They're awesome. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, be sure to buy an Odious head. Also, remember to join me live every Friday night at 8 o'clock Pacific time. I do a live show on my YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. You could come through, ask some questions, have a lot of fun. It's been like crazy the last couple weeks. I've really enjoyed it. Or if you don't want to buy an Odious head and you don't want to go to the live, just like the video or leave a comment or don't do anything. I'm just happy that you checked out the video. So anyways, thank you so much. Peace.